Good morning, Veritas. Today is Wednesday, May 20th, 2020. I hope that everybody is doing well. Find your assignment in Google Classroom. Number one, I'm going to need to look at my computer screen, so I will help with that in a sec. Okay, let's get started with number one. Pause this if you need a minute to get yourself ready and get yourself some paper to show some work. Number one says find the volume in unit cubes of the following irregular shape. Okay, so the units are just cubes, unit cubes. So it doesn't say if they're inches or centimeters or millimeters, so it doesn't tell you the unit. So it just says in unit cubes. So that's going to be the unit that we're going to put our answer in, unit cubes. So we're finding the volume of the following irregular shape. That just means it's not a regular shape, right? It's going to be a little bit strangely shaped. So it says see Google Classroom assignment for the shape. Okay, so we're finding volume. Volume, they will give you the formula. It's length times width times height. Okay, you'll get that on the reference sheet in MCAS. You just need to know to look there. But the formula for volume will be given to you. So number one, volume is length times width times height. But the issue sometimes, as with this one, is it's not just an easy what's the length, what's the width, and what's the height, right? This is an irregular shape, okay? So what's tricky about these is most kids would just count the ones that they see. They would say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And that is not correct. 9 is not the correct answer. So let me explain why. See how there's a row right here. Behind it, there are also cubes. So if there's 4 right here, there are also 4 behind it, over behind here, because these 4 are on top of them. So these 4 are being held up by 4 more. So there's actually 1, 2, 3, 4. Then there's 4 in the back, which makes 5, 6, 7, 8. And then these 4 are on top of those. 9, 10, 11, 12. So the volume in unit cubes of this irregular shape is actually 12. So you got to be extra careful when you look at these, and you can sometimes think of it as layers, like the layers in a cake. Let me draw you a layered cake, right? If you could picture like a layered cake that has 2 layers like that, right? Or 3 layers or whatever, right? These are the different layers. So we can look at this, and this bottom layer, the bottom part, has 8. These 4 and then the 4 that are behind it. Then the next layer has 4. So if we have 8 on the bottom and 4 on the top, we have a total volume in unit cubes of 12. Okay, so the answer for this one is 12 unit cubes. Most likely, the wrong answer most kids, I guarantee, will give is 9. And that's because you just looked at them and you counted them. You have to remember that there are 3 that are hidden behind this one, and behind this one. Okay, so there are 12 there. Okay, so for that one, we didn't really need to do length times width times height because it's hard. 2 times 2, but then there's some missing here. So it's really going to be hard to do it that way sometimes. Okay, so we want to be flexible and we want to be extra careful when counting those to make sure that we're not missing the ones that are hidden. All right, so give yourself some snaps if you got 12. That is the answer for number 1. Okay, number 2, find the product of 592 and 214. So product means the answer to multiplication. So we are going to multiply to find the answer of 592 and 214. So since we've been out of school, we haven't done 3 digits times 3 digits. But this is what the 5th grade standard requires you to know how to do. So this is going to be a little bit harder than what we've done. And there's a good chance that you've made a place value mistake, which I will help you through right now. So we're doing the product. We're multiplying 592 times 214. I'm going to check again to make sure I have those numbers correct. I'm finding the product. All right, we're good to go. Okay, so we're going to start in the ones place in the bottom right-hand corner like we always start here. And we're going to multiply the ones times the ones. So we're going to just go straight up here. 4 times 2 is 8 ones. Now 4 times 9, that's 9 tens. So what we're going to do in the math we're going to do is 4 times 9 is 36. But we got to remember that this is really 90. Okay, so that's why this whole place value is very, very important as we're working through here. So 4 times 9 is 36. So we're going to write 6, and we're going to carry the 30. Okay? This is really 90 times 4, which is 360. So we really put the 6 in the tens place, 60, and we carried the 300. But the actual math we do is 4 times 2 is 8, 4 times 9 is 36, but the reason it works is because that 30 is really 300, and that 6 is really 60. So it's going into the right place value. Now we got 4 times 500, but we're going to do 4 times 5 is 20, plus the 300s that we carried makes 23. And it's really 2,300, right? 2,000 is 20 hundreds, and 3 more hundreds is 3 more hundreds. So 2,368 is the first partial product. That is part of our answer to this multiplication problem. Now, when I was a kid, I used to forget to cross this number that I carried off, so the first thing I do is I just cross that right off. That way, next time when I'm multiplying, I don't mess up and add that, because I used to do that in 5th grade a lot. Okay, so all we did so far is 592 times 4. We haven't even looked at this 10 and these 2 hundreds. Okay, so 592 times 4 is 2,368. Now we're done with the 4. We're going to be on this 1, which is really 10, 214, so this is 110. So we need to put a 0 to hold the ones place, because now we're multiplying from the tens place. So I put my smiley face there. That way I can just remember, like, yep, I got to put that little smiley face 0 to hold the ones place. Because now we're at 10 times 2. So in our head, we're just going to do 1 times 2 is 2. But look, what we really did was 10 times 2 is 20. See how we end up with the right place value now? If we didn't put this 0, we would have 10 times 2 is 2. And that would be wrong. So it's really, really important. Just like I'm showing you here, 10 times 2 is 20. We end up with the right place value. The 2 is in the tens place. It's 20. And if we didn't put this 0, then we would have it all wrong, and our whole product would be wrong at the end. So you got to be extra careful. Make sure you put 1 0 there. So 1 times 2 is 2. 1 times 9 is 9. And 1 times 5 is 5. So the second partial product, part of the answer, is 5,920. So I want you to check yours. Do you have these 2 partial products so far? Because that's kind of something we've done. We've done 3 digits by 2 digits. We've done this. So I want you to check those. If you made a mistake, it was probably with this 0. Now here comes the hard part. We're done with this 10. We used it. We did 10 times 2, 10 times 9, 10 times 5. So what we got to do now is we're on 200 times 2. So stay with me. You got to hold the ones place, because now we're doing the hundreds place. And you also have to hold the tens place. So when we multiply by 3 digits, the first digit you don't put any zeros because we're starting with the ones place. When we get over to the tens place, you got to hold the ones place with a 0. That way we end up with this 2 being in the tens place. Now we're in the hundreds place. You got to put 2 zeros. You hold the ones place with a 0, and you hold the tens place with a 0. Because now what we're doing is 200 times 2. And 200 times 2 is 400. See how we end up with 400 like we're supposed to? Good. If we didn't put those 2 zeros there, we'd end up with either 40 or 4, and that would not be accurate. So you got to be very, very careful when doing these multiplication problems, because you got to be careful with holding your place values. So now 2 times 2 was 4, but it was really 200 times 2. That's why this works out. Now we got 2 times 9 is 18. Write the 8, carry the 1. 2 times 5 is 10, plus 1 is 11. Now be careful. We have no digits here and no digits here. So we got to be extra careful. That's 118,400. So this was tricky because after the thousands, there's 2 more places, and you got to be careful that there's nothing being added here or here, because there are no other 10,000s or 100,000s. So check your third partial product, part of the answer. It should be 118,400. Now we add up the 3 partial products. 8 plus 0 plus 0 is 8 ones. 6 plus 2 plus 0 is 8 tens. 3 plus 9 is 12. Plus 4 is 16. Write the 6. Carry the 1. Be very careful that you're going to the next place value over. 2 plus 1 is 3, plus 5 is 8, plus 8 is 16. Carry the 1. 1 plus 1 is 2. And then 1 plus nothing is 1. We'll go back 3 digits and put our comma. The product, the final answer to this problem, the product of 592 and 214 is 126,688. 126,688. Check a couple of times that you have the right numbers written down. All right. So that's it. Please, if you got this wrong, don't just fix your answer now. Look here. This is where you're going to be able to find out what you did wrong. That's your first partial product, 2,368. Your second partial product should be 5,920. Your third partial product should be 118,400. If you don't have these right, I want you to figure out why. Where, doing this multiplication, where did you make the mistake? Because if you don't find out where you made the mistake now, then you're going to probably make the same mistake tomorrow. So this is really important right now. Please pause this video, and your job is to look at my work, look at your work, and try to find out where the mistake was, and try to think about what it was that you did wrong. That way you can remember that the next time you go to do a type of problem like this. Okay, if you got that, you're awesome. Give yourself some snaps. That was tough. Nice work. Okay, last one. Number 3, find the area and perimeter of the following irregular shape. You must include the correct units of measurement. So we got to make sure we put the units of measurement. These are in centimeters. So area is going to be length times height. So the formula for area is length times height. So it's going to be centimeters times centimeters. So the area, the units, are going to be centimeters squared. Centimeters times centimeters. When we do the perimeter, we're just going to be adding centimeters plus centimeters plus centimeters plus however many centimeters this and that are. So our answer for perimeter is just going to be in centimeters, because perimeter are the sides plus however many sides there are. So this one is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sides. So there's going to be 6 sides being added together. Okay, but since they're all centimeters being added together, they're going to just be in the unit of centimeter. Now let's go in here and do some work. We're going to find the area and perimeter of this irregular, not regular, shape. So here's the shape. We got to do some work to find out these missing parts. Okay, so let's see. We have 12 from here to here is 12 centimeters. But this whole thing from here to here is 20. So 12 plus this section here is going to equal the whole thing. It's going to equal 20. So if that's 12, and this whole thing's 20, that means this missing piece is 20 minus 12, which is 8. So I want to make something clear with these. That doesn't look like that could possibly be 8 if that's 4, right? Don't be confused by that. Use the numbers. Don't look at does that make sense with these shapes? Because these are not drawn to scale. Right, so these are not exactly accurate, right? The 20 is almost as long as the 16, right? It might be just a little bit longer. So these are not super accurate, but you're going to use the numbers. Use that if this is 20, 12 plus 8 equals 20. So this section here, even if it doesn't look like it, is 8. And there will be times in the test where you say, it doesn't really look like that, but that's the way it is. Use the numbers, use the math, okay? So that part's 8 centimeters. Now let's do the same thing here. If this is 16 from the top to the bottom, that means the top to the bottom here is 16. So if this is 4, that means this is 12. Because 12 plus 4 is the total of 16. Okay, this and these put together is 16. So 12 plus this 4 makes 16. So now we have all the sides. Let's start with the perimeter because we'll just add up the sides. So we're going to add 16 plus 20 plus 12 plus 8 plus 4 plus 12. Then I'm going to make sure I count them all. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sides. So I should have 6 numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Good. It's easy. Since there's 2 12s, it would be easy to miss one of those. So I usually start in one spot and go all the way around until I get back to that spot again. Okay, so I started with 16, then 20, then 12, then 8, then 4, then 12. Good, I got them all. Okay, I'm going to add the 1. 6, 7, 8 plus 8 is 16, 20, 22. I just added all those numbers together. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So the answer is 72. And I'm just going to try it again one more time. 6, 8 plus 8 is 16, plus 4 is 22. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 72 centimeters, not centimeters squared because nothing was multiplied. We just added all the centimeters. So the perimeter of that irregular shape is 72. Make sure you put that next to perimeter, 72 centimeters. Now, what I think is the harder part is we're going to find the area. But the trouble, again, is we have this irregular shape. If we did 16 times 20, that would also include this section here, which is not part of this irregular shape. So we can't just do 16 times 20. We got to cut it. We could cut it this way and make it this and this rectangle, or we could have cut it this way and made it this and this big rectangle. But either way, you're going to get the same answer because we're going to add those two areas together. Okay? But you got to be careful here. So the area is length times height. So this is 12. So we're going to do 12 times. This is not, that's 12. And this is 16. So you just got to be careful that you're not using 20 times 16 because we're not using this whole thing anymore. We're just using this part of it. 12 times 16. So 12 times 16, 6 times 2 is 12. 6 times 1 is 6, plus 1 is 7. Hold that ones place with the 0. 1 times 2 is 2, and 1 times 1 is 100. 1. 2 plus 0, 7 plus 2, and then 1. Okay, 192. So that's not the final answer. That's this big rectangle here is 192 centimeters squared because we did centimeters times centimeters. That's how you get centimeters squared. Okay, now we got to be careful here. This is 8, so the area is going to be 8. I'll use this pen. Times, and we got to figure out how much it is here, and we already did. So be careful. We're using not 20, right? We're using the 8 because that's this part times 12 is this part. So I'm going to put the 12 on top. 12 times 8. 8 times 2 is 16. 8 times 1 is 8, plus 1 is 9. It's 96. 12 times 8 is 96. So if this section, the area is 96 centimeters squared, and this section is 192 centimeters squared, we're going to add those two numbers. 192 plus 96. That will get us the area of the whole irregular shape. 6 plus 2 is 8. 9 plus 9 is 18. 1 plus 1 is 2. So the final answer is 288 centimeters squared. And you need to have centimeters squared because we did centimeters times centimeters for this part, and we did centimeters times centimeters for this part, which are centimeters squared. Added those two up, and then we have the total area. So there are your answers for today. That was pretty tough, long video, so thank you for your attention. Give yourself some snaps. Great work, and I will talk to you later. Bye.